Hello and welcome back. Today we are taking a look at a slightly older toy now with the Star Wars Rise of Skywalker Galaxy Adventures First Order Driver and Treadspeeder. So this was one of the toys released alongside the Rise of Skywalker film some years back now. I was recently re-watching the film and I'll admit I'll get some hate for it, but I've actually always enjoyed the sequel films. But anyway, I was rewatching the film, and there's obviously the scenes with the Treadspeeder, and I was thinking how cool one of those toys could be alongside the Black Series figures. So I managed to find this on eBay for just £5. Even with including the delivery, so I thought I'd grab it, I'd open up, take a look at it, play around with it, and then my plan is to customize this so it looks more like it did appear in the film, with some better paint apps and things, and then hopefully put it alongside my Black Series figures. And if it doesn't quite work the way I wanted to, nothing's really lost because it was only £5. But without any further ado, then let's get this looked at, shall we? So, as I said, this is the First Order Driver and Treadspeeder. This did appear in the Rise of the Skywalker film on the desert planet chase sequence with the land boat things. It's an open box packaging. You get the First Order Stormtrooper, the Treadspeeder. It looks like it comes with a blaster and missile. The background of the box is done in sort of a rocky desert look, and you can sort of see the silhouettes of other troopers and speeders in the background there. That's nice touching. We get an art shot of the Treadspeeder and the Stormtrooper here. Disney Hasbro with Kylo Ren's lightsaber. Description of the play feature: crash effects. Which kind of remind me of the Power of the Force speeder bikes from the mid-90s. Now, I believe the Galaxy Adventures were a short-lived toy line which came alongside Rise of the Skywalker. The figures were closer to 5-inch rather than the old 3.5-inch, which I personally thought was quite disappointing. This one also looks like the Stormtrooper has a quick draw blaster action. On the back, we get a product shot of our speeder and the Stormtrooper, along with its play features, launch projectile and crash effects. On the bottom is our barcode and all of our legal. Galaxy of Adventures on the side. So let's get this open up and take a look. I've got some scissors here, so we will supposedly unclip speeder. Those bits have fallen off, that's fine. There we go. So bring those out. We will tear into the plastic and get those missile and gun out. Is there anything underneath? Oh, there's a small folder sheet of instructions. There's our standard legal mumbo jumbo bits. That is it. So yeah, if you're getting one and you're opening it up, be mindful that there are instructions tucked away underneath. Let's take a quick look at the instructions. Simple enough, shows the button, launching, and everything else self-explanatory. Stormtrooper is cable tied to the speeder. Let's take a look at him first, shall we? So let's get rid of these cable ties. So oh, his arm popped off just on a small peg. They are loose and do just pop in and off, so be mindful of that. The figure Let's see, stand our figure up. There we go. So the figure can stand on its own, just about. It stands at, I believe, the 5-inch mark. Yeah, so it's coming in at about 4 3/4 inches, so it's just under, so it's in that 5-inch scale. The speeder one at it measures at just shy of about 9.5 inches. So the Trooper himself isn't too bad. It's obviously on the smaller side compared to, say, the Black Series or whatever. But these are kids' toys, and they weren't ever designed for collectors. They were designed solely for kids. And as a kid's toy, it's not too bad. The head feels... So the head is on a double ball joint, and it just felt a little off center. That's better. So the head is on that double ball joint, so you get a full range of movement there. The arm is on that hinge and swivel joint. We get a bend and rotation at the elbow and rotation at the hands, and we have seen those can pop out. We have waist rotation, leg comes forward and back, out, bend at the knees, and full-on rotation at the feet. So there's a great deal of articulation here for what is a kid's toy, which is pretty good. I was half expecting this to just be a pre-posed figure. The fact that it's actually a proper action figure with some articulation is pretty good. The left arm is on a spring and is obviously designed for the play feature, so that doesn't articulate quite as well as the other one, but you can get it down. So he does have a blaster up. There doesn't appear to be anywhere to store said blaster, but he does get a nice grip on it, and then he has that quick draw, quick fire action, so you bring the arm back and he just fires it off. That's a nice little play feature. I'm sure kids at the time quite enjoyed that, and if you were getting this for a kid today, I think they would have some fun with that. I like the detailing on it. There's some nice paint apps and markings throughout, even down here. There's an attention to detail that you wouldn't expect with a cheap children's toy. That, you know, as a kid's toy, you could argue that they could have gotten away without having all these markings, paint apps on them, and kids wouldn't mind. They'd be quite happy to have their Stormtrooper with the play feature there and everything else. There's some nice foot moulding throughout, and it overall looks like the Stormtrooper as it did in the Rise of Skywalker film. I'm going to bring in a Stormtrooper or a Sith Trooper from the Black Series. It was literally the first one I grabbed off the shelf, so you can get an idea of scale here. It doesn't scale particularly well, which was to be expected, to be honest. I'm more interested in seeing if I can get this to fit on here reasonably. As for the speeder itself, it's mostly done in grey plastic, though there is some nice blues and greys throughout, so there is some nice detailing there. You have the seat, which supposedly fits down, and these parts should just fit on, so this peg will go in there, and then this one will do the same. Though you might actually need to bring them in. Okay, so actually you need to fit them together first, and then just bring them in and slide them over and down, and they just sit on rather than clip into anything, which is a little disappointing. I'd hoped that they would have clipped in together a little more sturdy. And then the missile will only fit on this side, but it will fit in. The speeder has a wheel here, but nothing at the back, so it will move. It does wheel along quite nicely, but I don't think you would. Oh, actually, you can get some wheeling motion out of it, which isn't too bad. So far, it's not too bad. It's better than I was expecting it to be. My only real gripe so far is the fact that this doesn't really seem to clip in at all. I feel that is a little annoying and could be quite awkward and annoying for a child as well, because you wouldn't want that popping off prematurely. But it rests on easily enough. Firing the missile is just a oh no, there is actually a little button here. I was expecting it just to be a flick release, but there is a button there, and it fires reasonably well as well. So you get a good distance out of it. Does it have the strength to knock over a figure? Let's have a look. So let's stand our stormtrooper up and fire. Nope. Let's see if we can do that again. So it does have the power to, so it does have the ability to knock over the figures if you wanted them to. So there is some fun and some nice play features here. To get the play feature to work, you just press the back and that knocks everything off. Otherwise it is just pushing this back into place, pushing the seat down. And then you can bring in your trooper, who just sits on the back here. Let's give him. There's no feet pegs or anything, which is understandable because obviously this is supposed to flip off. Also, it's worth noting that there's no real way for them to grip onto the handles. Again, understandable because otherwise the figure would just go like that. The idea or the play feature is that this will fly off when it's pressed. But the hands do rest into the handle rails there. So you can get him posed, speeding along, trying to get those pesky resistant fighters. He says, maybe. Let's see. There we go. So it's trying to get that, and they blast it and press the button, and it works pretty well. That was pretty cool. So again, just fit these on. It fits in like so. Let's get rid of the gun. That's a little annoying, but it's fine. Let's get rid of the gun. Let's swing the arm around. Okay. So doesn't really want to get its hand into the other well, but it's fine. There we go. So again, speeding along, and gets hit, and there we go. So you get some fun out of that. That's a nice, fun play feature. And it is somewhat reminiscent of that Power of the Force speeder bike, where it would hit and everything would sort of fall apart and throw the stormtrooper off. It looks like it was designed to have 2 troopers, so you could sit a second figure on the back there, still get that grip underneath and fire that off. Wondering if we can try something to see how well that would work with 2 figures. Okay, let's fit this on. Give that. Hold on. Just there we go. That's it. So we fit him on. Really random. The only thing I have close enough in a reasonable scale is this transformer. Let's just put that rested on, and so the other trooper wouldn't necessarily fly off, which is a little bit of a shame. The bag feature is not too bad. Part of me feels that it would have been a more enjoyable process to have maybe the triggering mechanism in the treads here, so that you hit it and essentially it's going up, as it were, everything would fire off. But nonetheless, it's a fun play feature in itself. As for scale, obviously this is a much larger figure than was ever intended for this, but let's have a look. Let's see if we can get the figure. It's not going to go on at all, which is a bit of a shame. But let's give it a try. So, okay, with some finagling, you can sort of get a trooper sat on there from the Black Series. It is oversized, it doesn't scale particularly well, but the play feature would still work with it. It's just a case of, you know, pulling the knees up. And I suppose if you've got this on a display shelf somewhere, it's not going to be as noticeable. You can still essentially get the feet with a little play into one of the footwells. They will clip on. And there we have it. So there we have our Galaxy Adventures First Order Driver and Speeder. I like it. It's a fun little toy. As I said before, I purchased it mostly to have a way play it, trying to customize it, and I certainly think I'm going to still try and do that. But as a kid's toy, it's certainly quite a bit of fun there. There's some fun play features, and I imagine the kids could have quite a lot of fun playing with this, with their figures. I like the little blaster action on the Stormtrooper, and the firing mechanism on the Speeder itself is also very satisfying. There we have them. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, stay safe, and may the Force be with you.